murder, carjacking, extortion, robbery. You can't turn on the evening news without seeing a story about them. But there's another crime that we don't often hear about and goes unreported. Yet it's so rampant, it's being called the crime of the 21st century. It's the financial abuse of seniors. Each day, active, informed seniors are victimized by predators who rob and steal their money and property. The weapons these criminals use are not guns and knives, but the telephone, the mail, a sales pitch, or the manipulation of a close personal relationship. But no matter what tactics they employ, what's at stake is everything you've worked a lifetime to earn. It's time to face it. Financial abuse of seniors is a crime. Financial abuse occurs when individuals steal or exploit your money, property, or personal belongings. These individuals act sincere and appear trustworthy. In fact, they are predators.
We're here because my mother, who is 87 years old and has had a stroke, has been bombarded with mail and advertising for whatever good causes out there and some that are not so good. There's been a raid on her treasury.
$4,000 in 1 month.
And they are trying to empty her bank account.
Our victims, even though most of them are women, come from all ranges of culture and class. The seniors are the targets because that's where the money is.
In order to keep from being a victim, you need to understand who the predators, cons, and swindlers are, and to be aware of the various methods they use to commit their crimes. Knowledge is power, and the key to beating these criminals. You can control your life and keep from being victimized by learning to identify the signs of abuse and then taking action to prevent it.
For those seniors out there who say it won't happen to them, sadly, I know a lot of people in prison that would love to meet them. We, who are perpetrators of fraud, love people who think they know it all and who are unteachable.
I was really taken. I've got 8 years of college. I thought I was intelligent. I got a call from Florida. If I'd give them $25,000, they were going to make me $1 million within a month or two.
Victims of financial abuse come from all walks of life, yet share one thing: denial.
Every victim originally once said, you know something, that'll never happen to me. Before you realize that it's a fraud, you're already sucked in and it's too late.
This is a very scary business. Nobody wants to believe this is going to happen to them, but it can.
I never thought we'd be taken like that. Never.
You see these stories on television and you read about these things happening to other people, and when it does happen to you, the shock, the trauma, the feeling is unbelievable.
Predators who target seniors can be divided into two groups. The first are people you don't know, strangers, men or women, young or old, all motivated by one thing only: to separate you from your money or possessions. Friendly predators are very skilled at what they do. They begin by trying to win your trust and confidence. They befriend you, get very personal, or even assume a position of authority.
That's when I had confidence in them, that they had, both of them had badges and clipboards with papers on them.
He had a very nice way about him. I mean, he was pleasant.
I mean, we truly believed his story. And he was a nice person. If I have to say that about him, I have to. There was no indication that he was anything but nice.
The suspects are using their personality, say their charm, their words, their kindness, in order to bring our barriers down.
They were really convincing. They were slick.
All I need is your routing number and then your checking account number and check number.
Convincing, slick, smooth. Con artists perpetrate hundreds of different scams each day. Winning your trust is just part of the con game, with their ultimate goal being to take your money or property. There are red flags that seniors need to look for. Learning to spot them could mean the difference between being scammed or not.
Victims will comply for several reasons. One is the telephone rings, nobody's called for 2 or 3 days. There's a nice sounding person on the other end of the phone who tries to make contact with them and relate to the same thing that the senior is experiencing.
That's how it initially starts. And once they have that personal attention and they engage in conversation, they're able to find out a little bit more regarding that victim, their likes and dislikes.
This is critical. If I'm going to separate a senior from their money, I need to separate the senior from the internal controls that have been set up by the family, accountant, lawyer to prevent the senior from falling into the clutches of someone like me. So I need to separate them from their accountability system first. Then I own them.
Some of the most common scams perpetrated by strangers are prizes, lotteries, and home improvement scams. Prizes and lottery scams generally involve a con artist informing you by phone, by mail, through the internet, or in person that you've won a valuable prize or a lot of money, but before they'll send you anything, they require you to send them money to cover taxes, shipping, or processing fees. The reality is, you'll never see your winnings, or if you do, the amount is usually less than what you paid to receive them.
The lottery scam, like you win something, but there's really nothing in there,
If somebody calls you or sends you a note that says you've won the Canadian lottery, the first thing you ought to think about is, did you ever buy a ticket?
If you receive a piece of mail that says you're an instant winner or that you have to pay anything in order to pick up your prize, that's a scam.
Here's the deal. Don't miss this. Anytime anybody asks you for upfront money in a sweepstakes, say, great. Take the 25 grand out of the $1 million I won and send me a check for $975,000. Just take it out of my winnings and send me the balance. That's all you got to do to handle all those upfront schemes, because that's all they are, is a big con.
We know the telemarketers, the longer they keep you on the line, the more chance they have of selling you something.
If I were someone perpetrating fraud against the elderly, I'd say this is a no-lose situation you're blessed to be a part of, and I'd make them think if they don't act now, then they got a big problem later. Watch for all those signs.
Another favorite scam of con artists is the home improvement scam. They work alone or in groups, going door to door selling bogus home improvement services or repairs.
I know better. I was a contract specialist. I know all about contracts. It's just I was sucked into this friend thing.
Con artists can be very persuasive, and given the opportunity, will coerce you into purchasing something you don't need, charge you a grossly inflated price, or worse, take your money for services they'll never even perform.
They did come to the door, and I just let them in because I'd seen the trucks, and I thought they were part of my furnace people. And I don't even know whether they called me first, but we were sitting at a table, and they were explaining to me that my air conditioning didn't work very well. And they showed me by putting some little contraption over the vents, and it looked very, very technical and scientific, so I went with it. I'm from the Midwest. We're very polite.
One of the hardest things we have getting across to seniors is be rude when you need to be.
Knowledge is power. Whether con artists are perpetrating prizes, lottery, or home improvement scams, you can avoid becoming a victim by taking a few simple prevention steps.
Oh, I have the power to hang up. I hang up on people who try to selling me things all the time.
If you receive a piece of mail that says you're an instant winner, throw that mail in the trash.
Our seniors, unless they called for that service, should never open the door for any reason.
Don't jump into any of these situations that do sound good and do sound legitimate. And think about it.
Any sweepstakes offer, any offer for refinancing, home repairs, you bring in your son or daughter, grandson or granddaughter, or your lawyer and accountant. Never depart from your money, give personal information to people you don't know. It's just the better part of wisdom.
Until now, we focused on con artists you don't know. Sadly, the second and most troubling group of predators who commit financial abuse today are the people you do know. Those individuals closest to you, family, friends, and caregivers.
A lot of the crimes are committed by family members and people who the elderly trust.
It is devastating to realize that a family member who you love and maybe you've even cared for could turn around and do something so poor. But I can tell you that it can happen to all of us.
It was my daughter and her husband. And because my house was large and they had a very small house, she says, well, Dad said on his dying bed that we hoped we could live together. But I didn't know what they had in mind was they were going to get the house. He tried to get me to sign a paper one time so that I think his name would be on the house. I was very upset because as he started to change everything, and I found myself finally out of the family room, out of the dining room, out of the rest of the house. All I had was a bedroom and bath. I lost complete control.
But it's not always a relative that will take advantage of your situation. Sometimes it's simply a friend or caregiver who believes he or she is entitled to your money or property.
We don't pay enough attention to our grandparents or parents, and there's fraud perpetrators that will. They'll love them, they'll call them every day, they'll get involved in their life, and it leaves them vulnerable for fraud. Because in the 8th conversation, can you give me your checking account number? Give me your social security number. I got this deal for you. You could trust me. How's the hip doing anyway, Ellen?
I had been sick. I'd been in the hospital about a month before, and I just didn't feel like signing a check for my rent and all that, and he did it for me. I thought he was an honest person.
Somebody was taking money out of your ATM card, about $300 a day.
That was my friend. I didn't have sense enough to say, well, don't do it.
Do you remember how much money you had?
I thought it was around 300 and something.
$1,000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much money you have left?
A penny.
The thought of someone you trust taking advantage of you is often too painful to admit. Be aware of some basic indicators that will alert you that someone close to you may be abusing your trust. If not in your family, certainly in others. Financial abuse can start very simply, like lifting money from your wallet. Some people will attempt to get what they want by isolating you from your family and friends. Still others will persuade you into adding their names to your bank account or signing over your home.
And the way you protect yourself is to be as knowledgeable as you can about your own finances. Ask questions. And if it doesn't sound right, keep asking questions or get another opinion.
One of the major benefits that comes with age is wisdom. Life is unpredictable. You might be healthy and sharing a home with someone today. However, that could change, but con artists won't. They'll continue to target seniors.
The only way that we can beat this thing and the only way that we can stop this is that people start talking about it and start reporting it.
You can empower yourself to take over right now what's been going on in your life. You can call Adult Protective Services and say, I need help.
If it hadn't been for this lady here, I'd been out $25,000.
Well, it sounded too good to be true.
You would have had zero if the ombudsman had not intervened, but we recovered $120,000 for you.
Thank Kevin.
Listen, when you lose your money, it's too late. Go to your bathroom, take out your toothpaste, squeeze it. Now try to put it back in. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in. That's elder abuse fraud. You're never getting your money back.
Financial abuse of seniors, whether committed by strangers or people you know, is a crime. There should be no doubt in your mind that even though you're a target, you don't have to become a victim. Keep learning all you can about the problem. Be alert to the signs that it may be happening to you. And share your knowledge and wisdom with other seniors. Together, we can prevent the financial abuse of seniors. For further information about senior financial abuse, visit our website at www.safestate.org.